This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, the Spotlight Show. I am your host, Mark Martinez, and I am elated to have my guest come on the show today. I'm also a little nervous. I've never had royalty come on Can Crushers. Yeah, it is Katie Arquette, Queen of the Silver Screen. Do you believe this? She is going to grace us with her presence. She's a former two-time IWC Women's Champion, and I wouldn't put my money past it. She'll be getting in real quick. We love Raylyn, but Katie is on a tear right now. There's a lot going on with Katie. This coming Saturday, when IWC Back In Business. I did the Eli Drake thing, by the way, there. Back In Business heads back to Elizabeth, Pennsylvania, and wrestling opens back up in Pittsburgh, hopefully. She'll be teaming with Queen Aminata to take on said Raylyn and this rookie, Shae. We'll talk to Katie about that. We'll talk to Katie about so much more. I'm excited to get there. I really am. Stop rambling, Mark, and let's get to the interview. But before we get to the interview, we always have to talk about our favorite t-shirt brand. It's Collar and Elbow. Guys, we told you for about a month, the new designs are coming, the new colors are coming, the new da-da-da-da-da. Hey, go back a couple days ago on our Facebook page. You'll be able to see all the cool designs, or go to collarandelbow.com. Once you're there, you're going to start buying stuff. There's some snap hats, there's some fitted hats, just everything's out there. Hats, hoodies, tees are all amazingly comfortable, and they all are looking good. They look great. And when you check out, use the promo code CANCRUSHERS. All one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. We give you 10% off. Yeah, you give you 10% off for listening to this podcast. That's what it is. I don't know why I'm talking like Mickey Mouse right now. Nonetheless, here comes Al Snow, and then we'll roll right into the interview with Katie Arquette, the Queen of Silver Screen.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Welcome back to Can Crushers. Man, I'm so excited to have my guest on this week. She is the Queen of the Silver Screen, two-time former IWC champion, and that former is probably going to leave real quick. I just have a feeling it's coming around the corner. Welcome to Can Crushers, Miss Katie Arquette.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and it's been my fault. It really has been. I should have got you earlier, but why not start now when wrestling is, air quotes, possibly coming back? It's scheduled to come back, but it's back to a rough time, Katie.
It's okay. I understand you have many other important people to interview, but I get it. You're just saving the best for last, so that's okay.
you're the first royalty. I've not had a king or a queen or anything, so I don't know where to go from here.
Well, my presence via telephone is here, so.
Nice. So, Katie, we haven't seen wrestling around our area since March, but we'll get to the wrestling. How are you? How has quarantine been? I know this is old news now. How did you like Tiger King? Let's just fill in this whole 3 months real quick now.
Oh, my goodness. So quarantine has been just a little exhausting. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to go out and do things, but I'm chilling at home. I found some really good, very active home workouts, so they're definitely keeping me busy. And I have my dog, so I'm always taking him out more, and he's definitely used to me being home. So whenever I leave the house for an hour, he gets really excited when I come back. But yeah, Tiger King. How long ago was that? I remember when it popped up on Netflix, and I'm like, I have nothing else better to do, and I want to look away, but I can't. I have to finish.
Was it a one-day stream for you? It was for me. I've actually watched it 3 times now.
I think it was over a 3-day span, but because I can only take so much Tiger King for someone who's afraid of tigers. So
right.
I needed small doses in the last 72 hours.
Nice. So, breaking the wall real quick. Man, your dog is beautiful. He really is. All over. We're friends on social media, guys. Come on, let's not, pull punches. Gorgeous dog. What's his name?
Thank you. His name is Bear. He's 9.5, and he looks but is nowhere to the point of a German Shepherd. He's just a short German Shepherd look-alike. He's just short and stout and small, and my one neighbor calls him Lowrider, so he's the best.
Well, nice. I love that. He needs to come hang out at a show with us. You can sit by us in the second row, the Can Crusher section, and we'll take care of him. We really will. I love dogs.
Oh, he's a people. Like, I don't even consider him an animal. He just has those doe eyes that don't even look like an animal. He's just like, I'm here, and he's so loving. And when I know dog owners say, like, oh, he's friendly, and then they bite. No, he will greet you if you're a stranger walking through the door. He'll be like, what do you need? I'll help you steal some stuff.
We have the same dog then. We really do, because mine doesn't know how to bark or anything, but if you need the big screen and you have a treat, here, come on in.
Yep.
So, Katie, how anxious are you to get back in the ring? We know you've been doing some training at home and, heading to IWC's training facility, but it's not the same. How anxious are you to jump back in the ring July 11th?
I am more than ready. I need to knock off some ring dust, which is why I've been going back as often as I can, other than just, basic home workouts, but to actually be in the ring, because there's a difference between having good cardio and then having good in-ring cardio. There is a distinct difference. But I am just so ecstatic to get back in the ring July 11th. It's only a couple weeks away, and I'm hoping and praying that no new rules change or come into effect, because I really need to get into the ring, and not only just to be in the ring, but to finally have my hands on Raylan and this new Shae person. And unfortunately, I do have to tag with Queen Aminata, but things are settling, so I think it should be okay.
Yeah, we'll jump back to that because there's a whole story about that. But let's find out more about you, because your opponents and then this Ella, I'm sorry I don't know you, this rookie that is getting thrown in. But let's do the rewind and find out about Katie. Who introduced you to wrestling? Was it grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, third cousin Joe? How did you find this crazy business?
So, I love when people ask me this question because she's my biggest fan. My sister actually got me into wrestling. We're 8 years apart. She's older than I am. and she started watching the Attitude Era. So that's when I started to really pick up on it and, really see it. And, being a little kid, I didn't understand much what was going on and kept going like, why did he do this? Why did he do that? Like, oh my goodness. And my sister actually got so annoyed with how many questions I would ask that the very final straw was Triple H was, I don't even know what show was it. Triple H was coming out, he gets onto the ring apron and he takes a swig of water and he, sprays it above him. I looked at her and I go, why is he spitting on himself? And she kicked me out of her room for the rest of that time. So I completely fell out of wrestling because I didn't have my own TV in my room. My parents weren't going to turn it on in the living room. So I fell out. But I ended up finding some mutual friends in college who loved wrestling. So it was a nice pick-me-up because my favorite wrestler of all time is Kane. And that's who I first saw in my sister's room on the TV. So when I saw a match, I think it was a Monday Night Raw back in 2014, I was like, Kane is still wrestling? So it really triggered me to get back into it, and I've just loved it ever since.
So Kane, I never would have thought Kane. I thought when you mentioned Triple H, I thought, yeah, that's who I have you pegged. Triple H, maybe one of the stand-up women of like Trish because watching stuff in the back, but Kane, how the hell? Because it's just the first person you saw.
He was the first person I saw. I know so many people are shocked when I say Kane because they're like, why? But it was like a love at first sight through the television. I saw him. I thought he was super cool. And then knowing his whole story, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. And he came back to life and he's burnt and, his brother's dead. And I'm like, I feel so bad. And I fell so in love with him. So he's always been my absolute favorite.
Who's been your favorite Kane partner? Has it been The Undertaker, Daniel Bryan, the list of other jabronis that he's had? But who?
Well, I love Kane just as himself. I don't think he needs anybody in the ring. But if I had to pick, I would pick The Undertaker because of their story. That's why I was so hooked on Kane, knowing the whole backstory between the two of them. And I think that it's so nostalgic to watch them in the ring, even in the last few years. But I think they make a great tag. Like, there's so much chemistry, and you can tell that Undertaker really helped him grow as a wrestler and really put him over in all the best ways that he could. So I think their chemistry is the absolute best.
Have you ever had the opportunity to run across Kane, at a con or any show that you've been on or anything?
No, I have not. But a friend of mine, well, actually one of my trainers was on a show with him. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be here. And I'm like, can I go? I really want to go. Because whenever there's some, legend in the locker room, I'm always professional, like the inside of me. I'm like, oh, this is exciting. Like I've met Matt and Jeff Hardy. I've met Sting. I've met a lot of awesome people, Hardcore Holly. But if I ever met Kane, I feel like I would be so fangirl because I wouldn't know what to do, and I would just want to hug him and just hope that he liked me.
That would be so strange, just to see you in your fur coming running after Kane. Like, who is this weirdo running towards me right now? He'd probably take it.
I wouldn't run, but I would slowly walk with this very big smile, like, oh my gosh, it's Kane.
So you'd look more like a stalker. I would bet he would rather have you running at him going, Kane, than slithering towards him. Oh my God.
I gotta plan my sneak of attack and be like, just love me, I'm a really nice person.
You are. Oh my God. I'm lost. You brought up that you found wrestling again when you were in college, but what was that deciding factor that, damn it, I know I can do this, and I'm going to get away with, tearing up the indies and then go from there?
So when I got back into wrestling, I didn't know there was any such thing as the independent scene. I had no idea that even existed. So through my group of friends, one of them found IWC and said, like, I'm going to go, well, they didn't mention it. They were like, I'm going to go try out. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, for WWE? Like, how is it that easy to say, hey, I want to try out? And then he explained it to me. I'm like, oh. So I took my time really establishing myself in college and, what I wanted. I was a theater major in college, so I thought, you know what, I've never done anything, hands-on when I was little. Like, I played a million sports, but I always wanted to do karate. So I'm like, ooh, wrestling, this will work. So whenever I found out about IWC, I think it was a year later, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go to the tryout, see how it goes, and I made it through. Very sweaty, but I made it through, and I fell in love with it instantly. I didn't know what was going to happen during those 12 months of training, but I knew that I never wanted to not be in a ring again.
Nice. I love that story. You kind of have the same story as the English professor. He went for English, but did a lot of theater stuff. He was not sportsy, but we're old and fat and out of shape and everything now that jumping in the ring, you would kill us. But nonetheless. So let's talk about some of your trainers and where you went to school, because we on Can Crushers always want to give props to them. I legit know who your trainers are, but I want you to say it, and I want to give you the props of saying where you trained, because that's essential from across the board. You could look at John Cena, and every once in a while he mentions OVW. So let's continue that, because they deserve their props, because you wouldn't be where you are now without them, right, Katie?
Absolutely. I think I had two trainers, and they're so polar opposites in teaching styles that it worked out really well for me and my entire class, because we got to see two different sides of things and we're able to, take what we could from each. But both of my trainers from, the ICWA through IWC was Chris LaRusso and Andrew Palace. So you can just imagine the type of chemistry they brought to the seven of us and how they distributed it over a course of a year.
Andrew Palace still on good terms with. We talk every once in a while. I love the guy. Chris LaRusso can't wait to spit or slap me in the face every time he sees me. But that's okay.
Yep, that sounds about right.
It's a mutual thing. I'm on him every week about getting drunk the very first time on a Six Pack with Jack and passing out. But nonetheless, that's a different story, a different podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Chris loves his beer, and he's not afraid to drink as much as he can, enough to pass out on Six Pack with Jack.
I love it. Great guy. So you're just over 3 years in the business, Katie, and do you still get the butterflies of the first match? That you had with Britt. We'll bring that up as well. But there's got to be butterflies all the time, right?
All the time. Every single match I have. I still get nervous, driving to the venue, especially if I've never been there before. And then that's, I'm in the locker room. I'm thinking about all the things I'm going to do in my match. And I'm standing behind the curtain, anxiously waiting for my music to hit. And as soon as it does, I get so nervous. But then as soon as I go through the curtain, I just put on a whole different persona. And I'm like, I'm here to win. So the butterflies never go away, ever. And if they do, you probably shouldn't be doing it anymore.
Is it for you because you play off the crowd great? You're one of the best by far that you play off the crowd, either hating us or loving us now, however you want to do it. But you play off the crowd great. Is it sometimes not really knowing your opponent? What's the butterflies come from? Or is it just the excitement?
I think it's just the excitement, because you're still performing. You're still doing something that's going to attract fans. It's all about the fans. Even if I'm wrestling in front of 12 people, those 12 people came to see me and anyone else on this card. So I'm going to give them my all. So I think it's the overall, I don't want to disappoint the fans. I want to be able to give them everything that I have, whether it's 200 or 2 people watching me. You know, they came to see something exciting. They came to get away from, you know, normal life. You don't see many people dressed up in tights wrestling for fun or for sport. So I definitely think it's the fans who get me all anxious and excited, and it's entirely worth it because I feel like I deliver most nights, and it's all about the fans.
Most nights you're undercutting yourself. There's one that I really want to talk about. You're delivering. We'll get there, but you don't know how many fans are truly watching you because now with the IWC network for only $9.99 a month, there's millions out there watching, and it's awesome to have eyes like that.
Oh yeah, especially, you know, online. I mean, it's amazing what has grown just in the last 3 years that I've been here, and seeing that we are able to have 2-to-1 media with the IPTV and being able to have the network and watching it from home, especially, you know, during quarantine, if anyone that doesn't feel comfortable coming out. But that makes me a little more nervous now that you've put it in perspective, that there's millions more watching it that aren't there. But yeah, I always try to give it my all, and I always want to give out my best effort.
And you do. One of the things I want to talk about early in your career is you got to be part of a Rise taping, which, besides IWC, it's one of the greatest things I've ever went to in the Pittsburgh area. I don't know, it felt like 2 hours, but we might have been there 8 to 10 to 12 hours. What a freaking stat card. And I said you were about a year, maybe a year and a couple months into your career, and the people in the back, how fangirl were you with those people? Because I wanted to talk to Mercedes, and the list could, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I think I was just under 2 years maybe, so definitely finishing off my first year professionally. And I was, you know, so ecstatic to be a part of that card and to be a part of that show. I know Ziggy Heim was also excited because we trained together, and, you know, when Justin Plummer came to us about, you know, being on the show, we were like, yes, let's do it. So we were definitely really excited. Like I said, I didn't know a whole lot about the indies, but, you know, that whole year and a half, 2 years, you know, learning and doing my own research on different opponents and possible opponents. Yeah, people like Mercedes Martinez, you know, even Tessa Blanchard, and, like, I mean, I knew Britt, but I knew she was making a name for herself too. So it was very exciting, but also very nerve-wracking because that day, like you said, was like 8, 10, 12 hours long. And, you know, we have multiple matches because we were doing multiple tapings, and it was all craziness. So trying to, you know, go over my match and making sure I know what I'm doing, along with trying to network myself and, you know, being nice to everybody and making sure that, you know, I'm not just like, who's that in the locker room? You know, I'm like, oh, I'm Katie. So it was definitely exciting to be a part of that. And unfortunately, in the last year or so since I've been on a Rise show or taping, you know, the timing has never worked out for me to get back into their seminars. But that was the plan to change for this year until COVID happened. But hopefully when things start to really get back to normal, that's going to be my number one goal, is really striving to be a part of Rise.
Yeah, it works wonders. It really does. You can see the names that have just been generated from Rise. Did you bend anybody's ear in the back? I mean, did you? Tessa's great. Mercedes. Raylan was there. We love Raylan. We know there's history, and we're getting to it with you. Or Britt, because we know you've trained with Britt and everything. But did you say, hey, you know, can you tell me anything? Because Tessa, I'm sure, is a wealth of knowledge. I mean, look at her, who her dad is.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I was definitely, like I said, it was complete craziness back there, like the entire time. It was very, very rare to find like a stretch of time to really talk to anybody, like relaxing wise. And a lot of girls, whenever they're, because a lot of them flew in, when their matches were finished, they left. So it was a little difficult for me to really reach out and try to talk to people. But one of my matches was against Nicole Savoy, she was amazing, and I absolutely loved that match with her. I'm sure if I watch it back, I'll look at all the horrible things that I did and could have done better. But it was really nice getting to talk to her, and she is very close to Mercedes Martinez. So I was trying, just to be in that circle of conversation and really try to, put myself out there to really, what can I do better? That was the main thing that I did backstage, was asking, for feedback. If anyone did watch my match, especially Nicole Savoy, I was like, is there anything I could have done better? Like, what did you, like, dislike? So, but I think the overall experience was one to take home.
Nice. All right, let's play a word association real quick. I'm going to give you 5 names. It doesn't have to be one word, but it doesn't need to be 5 hours long either. I'm going to give you some of your opponents that you faced off with, and I just want to tell you, just run with it. You know where I'm going. And you brought up most of them. So let's talk about Ziggy, one of the very first people that you trained with and everything. Ziggy's amazing. I've always been a huge supporter of Ziggy. We kind of had her on when she was, her other personality, so we need to wrap back around, but Ziggy.
Right. Fun. She's absolutely fun. I love working with her, and I love training with her. We were each other's go-to partners for the first 6 months of going out and having real matches.
Of course, Britt. We have to get it out of the way. I don't mean it mean, Britt, because I know once in a while you give us a listen. But of course, Britt. I mean, that was your first match.
Yeah, I honestly don't have a word for her. She's amazing. I was very nervous going into my first match, and the rematches we've had, and even the match when David Arquette was there. She is incredible, and she has taught me so much, and she's given me confidence in myself.
Honey Badger.
Scary, but exciting. I love working with Badger. She definitely puts a whole new twist on matches, and she's always a good time to get in the ring with.
Savoy was one of them. You kind of gushed over her already, so we'll leave that at that. Let me throw another one out that I can think. Megan Myers.
Oh, Megan Myers. She's surprising. She's not too much younger than me in my wrestling, but she surprises me every time I'm in the ring with her. Good or bad, but we grow from each other, and I think there's a lot to take from her.
That's actually somebody, throw everybody else, Raylan, Britt, Ziggy out the window, kind of. I see a lot of same styles with both of you. Like, I think that is your feud that you could run with forever. I've always seen something there with both of you guys that in Rise or where Rise in Pittsburgh, not Rise, the other Rise. So if you know where I'm going, there's always something there with you guys that. Just the same, not character, but style that you guys could poetry in motion.
Right. No, I agree. I think there's some good chemistry, and there's so much potential for the two of us. I think we could definitely run with something in the future.
And, of course, I have to bring up Ray Lynn, because you guys are just on a tear to – it would have been to tear down 2020, but COVID's already torn down 2020, so.
Oh, Raylan, I don't know if I use this word yet, but challenging. She challenges me in so many ways when we're in the ring together. And I've mentioned her on other interviews and podcasts that she's one of my favorite people to get into the ring with, because there is a lot of good chemistry, and I feel like we're always able to deliver no matter what the scene is.
You are, and we're getting there. We're getting there to talk about the match, but we're gonna pause. We're gonna pause on wrestling now and ask the silly questions. We always have 5 that we just throw at you guys now. If you could be guaranteed one thing in life besides health and money, what would you want it to be?
Oh my gosh, this is a deep question. I was not prepared for this. Okay.
Yeah.
Other than wealth, or what did you say, health and money?
Health and money.
Oh, I'm stumped. I guess the one thing I would want out of life is just happiness. You can have happiness by being healthy. You can have happiness by having money to, use for yourself and use for others. But you're not going to find happiness unless you have joy in life. And you need to find the good moments to really run with. Because if you're not finding the good people to be around and the good things you like to do, then there's nothing.
See, it wasn't that hard because those are the three things. You guys have all blown this out of, I don't know if you thought world domination or where you were going with, but happiness is the easy answer.
Yeah, but it can sometimes be like, oh, she said happiness. A lot of people say happiness. But, I had a good explanation, I think.
You had a great explanation. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
If you had to delete all but 3 apps on your phone, what 3 apps are you keeping on your phone and why?
That I would keep on my phone?
Yep.
I would probably say Facebook, Instagram, and Timehop. Those are the 3 apps I would keep on my phone forever. And Facebook is because, it's universal. Almost everyone has one. That's like the center of where people connect online. Instagram, because I love looking at pictures. Sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words and they don't always need captions or hashtags. And Timehop, because I have a 3-year Timehop streak that I'm very proud of. And it reminds me of all the past good times and past things that I said when I was in high school and being melodramatic. So I love my Timehop.
So I guess I don't have to ask you your goal in life because you've already succeeded with Timehop. No.
I'm proud to be in the 3-year club.
Yeah. Hopefully they can give you some type of sponsorship or something because I don't even know what the hell Timehop is. I don't have it. Explain Timehop.
Timehop is it basically you connect Facebook, Instagram, your Twitter. You put all these different things that link to it, and then every day it gives you a notification to look at your Timehop to see what you did on this day 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 7 years ago, however far back you've had any type of social media platform, if it's connected to it. So it kind of just reminds you of different things that are there. And it's always this little dinosaur, because, it's Timehop, so it's like,
Clearly, I
takes
get
you
it.
back in time. And at the end, when you get there, it tells you how many days in a row, because you have a streak. And it always has some type of cliche little saying, some that and then some that are extremely cheesy or random. But it's fun. I enjoy it. And on April Fool's Day, it always has a million different things that didn't happen. So it's always fun.
Can you post from Timehop to all 3 things that are connected? Because holy hell, that sounds a hell of a lot easier for social media podcasting than Mark posting one thing at a time.
No, I know, but Timehop is just your own. Like, no one else can see your Timehop. It's just a little reminder of this day 10 years ago, this day 1 year ago. You should download it. You should try it.
I will. I will definitely download it, and I'll let you know on the 11th what I think of it.
Perfect.
So this is just boggling my mind. This is something my 13-year-old didn't even tell me about. He probably hasn't. I don't know. But in 3 years, how many of the same quotes have you seen?
A lot.
Yeah, I figured.
I've seen so many things that I've posted, and I'm like, what was going through my mind when I posted that? Not necessarily bad things, but I'm like, I couldn't be more dramatic, especially things that are back in high school where, you know, you're talking about exes and backstabbing friends, and I'm just like, and what's the beauty of it is when something does pop up, you can click Facebook or Instagram, like a little bubble will be at the top, and you can click on it, and it'll take you to it, and you can delete it if you want.
All right, a follow-up question to that. We're going to stay on Timehop. This is amazing. I'm getting a lesson. How many of you deleted from high school that you have on Timehop? I can't imagine you were being one of the mean girls or a bully back then, and I don't want to get involved in like the speak out movement with you because nothing's going, you know. But how many of you deleted because you were a bully?
I was not a bully. I didn't
kidding.
do anything to
I'm
anybody.
kidding.
I was an emotional teenager, and you know, I was boy crazy too. And then when I got my high school boyfriend, you know, your first love and everything, oh my goodness, the quotes I would say, like, with the love of my life, and this is like 9 years ago, and I'm like, we're just going to delete that. I don't know. Or if there's like an old picture, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. My head was somewhere else. And then I think, am I still like that? Will Timehop tell me 5 years from today that I was thinking the same thing?
Subconsciously. Last one on Timehop. How many music lyrics did you post that you've been deleting from like Hanson or Nickelback or anybody like that?
I posted some Nickelback song lyrics. My high school boyfriend, he loved country music, so I would always post a bunch of country music lyrics from Jason Aldean to Luke Bryan. I left those because those are, I mean, they're nice, but but I was always one to post lyrics from any type of song, whatever my emotions were that day.
Oh my God! All right, moving along. We know you're the queen of the silver screen, but when the Katie Arquette documentary, movie, or whatever comes out, who is going to play Katie? Who is going to be the leading lady?
Oh my goodness. I've never thought of that, and I should. I'm trying to think, you know, if I did have, other than myself playing my own role, I think someone that could do really well would be Emma Stone.
Oh, nice.
I feel like she's similar. We're kind of similar. Like, I love her movie Easy A. Like, she's always coming up with, like, random one-liners. I feel like I do that a lot because anytime people are around me, they're laughing. So I'm like, they're either laughing at me or what I said. So I'm just going to go with that. I feel like she would do really well playing me.
My thought when I asked you that was Anna Kendrick. I actually thought Anna Kendrick for you. Speaking of one-liners and everything.
I can see that.
All right. Now on a serious note, if you could send the world a message in 30 seconds, what would you say to them during this horrible time in wrestling, horrible time in the world? What would you tell them right now?
Keep moving forward. There is nothing that is going to stop you from continuing to do whatever it is you want to do in life, for yourself, for someone else. Keep your head up. Keep pushing through, because at the end of the day, nothing really matters unless you're feeling good and you're just happy. So keep moving forward. Quote Walt Disney.
Which reverts back to the very first question, happiness. See how it's all planned out? Yeah.
Full circle.
Sometimes shit just happens and we don't plan it, but it's a good way to go.
Yep.
So
Yep.
back to wrestling, because that was the weirdest, silly stuff one that I've had. Earlier this year...
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. That's just, that little bit should be clipped and thrown everywhere, so let's deal with that. Earlier this year, you took place in the 16-bit challenge, looking to get that reset button, and For a while, you were kicking ass and taking names in that. I know you're going to say, I was only in there for a little bit. But you beat the shit out of Jackson Argos. You went after the now winner, Atticus. What's up with you in Battle Royals and just making a name for yourself in Battle Royals? Because you've been in a couple other ones, too, that you did well in.
Thank you. Well, I take defeat fairly well. So, Rachel and, Calvin Couture got the best of me and Justin LeBar. So I had we had our blow-off match and there was nothing else I could really do. There's no more reasons for me to have a rematch. So I decided to put myself out there elsewhere. So, yeah, I'm going to put myself in every Battle Royal, every Royal Rumble, every, reset button, 16-bit challenge. I'm going to do anything that I can, and I loved being in the 16-bit challenge. I loved how Atticus and anyone else, Jackson Argos too, didn't expect it to be me. But when I came in, Atticus was like, all right, fine, whatever. And I got the best of him, but unfortunately he got the win over me. And then Jackson Argos right there in the middle. I had to do something too. It was just in my way.
You did a snap suplex, and I swore you morphed into Kenny Omega when you did that snap, because I just watched it probably 2 days ago, knowing that I was talking to you and everything. I'm like, man, I want to watch that 16-bit challenge because it was, again, I said you were in there for a little bit, but you did a lot in that little bit. Have you been working on those recently? Because damn it looked great, Katie. It looked amazing. You threw your hips and then you threw Atticus across the ring.
Hey, I got a lot of, energy built up and, I need to let loose. But yeah, the first move I did, I think it was a butterfly suplex. He came at me and I grabbed his arm and I just threw him as far as I could. And, he swung again, ducked in my beautiful German suplex. So definitely trying to do anything I could. And hey, I was amped up. So I had all this energy to just, throw around.
This coming Saturday or July 11th or however we're dating this, you are clearly catching on that we recorded this prior. You are tagging with Queen Aminata, okay? Let's not talk about your opponents yet. You guys have already heard the beginning of this, but you've had past histories with Queen Aminata. How does this partnership work out right now as you're going to be taking on Raylan and Ella Shae? We'll talk about those two in a minute, but you and the Queen don't see eye to eye because you're the real queen of IWC. I don't know where she comes in thinking that she's going to take over your queenship.
Well, Queen Aminata and I have some history. This isn't the third or even fourth time we've been in the ring together, so we know who we are. It's always a queen versus queen type of battle going on, and she came into IWC head held high and definitely wants to take, the role of queen of IWC. It's definitely been a challenge to accept the fact that we are tag team partners right now because I don't know what's going to happen. She got the win over me when LeBar was with her, and then I find out that, her and Raylan are all buddy-buddy, but then, she lost for her, and now this whole thing is spiraled. But from one queen to another, we've had our differences. We both have similar opponents who aren't necessarily the best in the locker room. So, and I mean that by, just the overall persona of we got some heat there. So she's reached out to me and I've, responded back, and I feel like right now my only option is to trust her. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt and hope that the queens can rise together and defeat the two people we're coming up against soon.
Yeah, and Raylan, we've talked about a little bit, and we talked about how you love working with her in the ring and everything. She is the IWC Women's Champion. She's a former OVW champion. The list of accolades that can go on with Raylan is amazing. So if you don't know who Raylan is and you're listening to this podcast, you haven't come out from under the rock because we gush over Raylan. Nothing. But the wild card in this is somebody that us fans have not seen, a recent IWC graduate, Shae. What do you know about her? Have you kind of lingered around the training center and see what she has for us?
Yeah, so the video I had posted, I think it was a couple weeks ago, was Shae. You know, she was down at the ring, and, you know, I knew nothing really about her other than the fact that she's training, and she seemed cool. You know, we wrestled around a little bit, but now she wants to be throwing hands and buddying up with Raylan. So now I'm kind of curious, you know, what's her purpose? You know, what is she striving for? And I know she's been hanging out with, I think, Chase Gold or whomever that may be. And I don't know. I think she's one to look out for, so I'm not going to doubt her just yet. But I don't think she realizes what she's getting herself into just yet. So she should watch herself.
And then, by far, we have to talk about your arch nemesis right now, Calvin. You've brought Calvin into the business. You know, you did everything for him, and then he turns with you to go with Raylan and LeBar. Who knows what the hell LeBar is doing anymore, but whatever. But what kind of words do you have for Calvin? Because I suspect he'll be lingering.
Oh, Calvin. That's what he does best, Mark. He lingers. He follows. He's not a leader. He wants to just, you know, wrap himself around you and take all your exposure and then just throw it in your face with a freaking title belt. You know, we trained together. We were friends. We had all this chemistry, but I guess we were just on two separate pages for the longest time. And you know what, Calvin? I don't care. You were a horrible friend anyway. So, Have fun with Justin LeBar and with Raylan, because you're not going to get anything more than a bunch of crazy people wrapped around your finger.
That's perfect, because Raylan's crazy, Calvin's crazy. Before we gush some more about July 11th and just what you're going to expect from it and look down the line, how much wrestling do you get to watch today? AEW, NWA, which is kind of on hiatus, which really hurts. MLW, you know, all the big promotions. Which one do you sit down and spend most of your time watching?
I really enjoy watching AEW, and it might just be a little bit of bias because
Clearly.
There's people that I know on there. There's people that I've met. You know, there's people that I've crossed paths in the locker room. You know, I love watching Britt up there. I love seeing Wardlow grow even more into the beast that he is. I've had the pleasure of meeting Brian Cage, and, you know, he deserves this so much as well. And then a lot of the females, Penelope Ford, like, there are women and men up there that, you know, I know and that I'm friends with. So it gives me hope that one day, if we can cross paths again, that I can make my way to where I would want to be one day. So I love watching them because it makes me feel like I'm just backstage at the same locker room watching their matches. So AEW is definitely the top one.
Touching on all of them real quick, because everybody that you named has been in an IWC ring. We'll kind of go reverse order to who you brought up. Penelope Ford, when she was with Joey Janela, was in IWC for, you know, a 2-off, I think. Holy hell, has she grown since even the show that she was on. I mean, she was established at IWC, you know, when she was coming in for that spot. But, wow, she has just... I think that locker room is all about teaching, right?
Oh, 100%. I think I met her when I was still training, so she probably doesn't remember me. But I remember, you know, small chit-chats and, you know, watching how she performed at IWC and, you know, okay, cool. But as women's wrestling has evolved so much, I feel like she's latched on to that and she's grown with it. Because you're right, the first match I saw of hers on AEW, I was so incredibly impressed. You know, I mean, she's many years my senior when it comes to being in the business, but I think I'm I'm able to say that. Like, she has grown so much, and she should be extremely proud of herself for being where she is.
Yeah. Brian Cage as well, just recently, more recently than Penelope Ford, did a show for IWC, and man, he's a huge man. He's a huge man, and I love seeing him pop up there, and him against Mox at Fighter Fest next week, I believe, is going to be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Those two guys in the ring, I'm very excited to see how that's going to play out. And Brian Cage is so nice, and he is very, very big. He's a very large man, and he should be quite proud of that. He takes dad bod to a whole new level. So he should be very, very proud of that.
Creepy the way you said that, though. All right.
Well, they meant to be creepy. You look good.
Well,
you
Dad,
good.
I do, but I'm saying it dude to dude, but you're like, dad bod. This is the way it came out of your mouth. And I'm like, oh my God, what's Katie doing? At first it's Kane, now it's Brian Cage. Wardlow.
He has a good physique.
Perfect. That's better. We talk about AEW. And I'm going to say it the wrong way, holding Wardlow back, because us IWC fans know what he can do. We know that he is just going to dominate when he starts dominating even more. Do you think AEW is giving us a slow burn because he's just going to run roughshod over AEW for a long time?
Oh, yeah. I think Wardlow's build-up has to be very precise. I think there's some things I would have done a little bit differently. Like with Luchasaurus, I feel like it should have been bigger, and to see those two guys, it should have been on a pay-per-view. But nonetheless, still a good match. I think AEW wants to take their time with someone like Wardlow, because he's someone you don't expect to have the type of skills that he does have in a ring against his opponent. So I think it's a good thing to take it slow, so I'm really excited to see how the build-up turns out.
And, of course, finally, we'll gush on Britt a little bit because she's Britt. She's legitimately lives 25 miles down the road where she grew up. 25 miles down the road from me. She is a role model now. She's taken this injury and making herself huger, and that's not a perfect word to use there, but she's making herself bigger, and she's just growing with it. And I don't want to say she's doing nothing, but she's just being Britt, and it's awesome.
I know. Britt has done so much for herself, and she should be so proud. Like, I love watching the role model aspect, and I love how she's doing role model with an E and then role with the double L.
Yes.
Because she's in a wheelchair. But she's a great person to get to know and to really, learn from. She's still new herself. She's been in the business for 4 years, and I know there's so much more you can get out of her. But she's amazing. Like, there's not enough adjectives I can say in a positive way. I love seeing her up there. She knows what she's doing. She reacts to a crowd extremely well. She feeds into that, and the people she's put herself with Tony and Reba, she really, makes her name known. And if you don't know it, you clearly aren't paying attention.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, a couple more questions, and then we'll gush about July 11th again, and then I'll let you go get your workout done. You have a little kid coming up to you, and you have many little kids coming up to you that is 5, 6 to 10, and saying, Katie, I want to be just like you when I grow up. What advice do you give them? Life advice and wrestling advice, because they already have their path set. They're going to IWC training school, da-da-da-da-da. What do you tell them?
I tell them, hell yeah. And I tell them, what do you want to do? I ask them all these little questions because kids absorb so much. They are paying attention when we don't realize it. So they know moves that, sometimes I forget the names of because I'm horrible at names. I'm like, just move.
It only gets worse, by the way.
So I always tell the kids, like, what do you want to do then? Like, what kind of moves? Like, who do you want to wrestle? And, like, as they get older and they're really inquiring, I'm like, oh, I trained here. So I try to put it in such a positive way that they can do it, because dreams aren't anything without actions. And without actions, they're not going to become a reality. And that's something that I tell myself every day. Dreams plus actions equal reality. And if a kid can believe so much that they can do something, I'm going to let them know that they can. And it doesn't matter what that is. It doesn't have to be your typical, hopes and dreams. It could be anything. If you want to be an astronaut, if you want to be a wrestler, hell yeah, I will do anything I can to put you in the right direction and keep your positivity up.
Nice. You brought up some of the kids' dream matches. Here is the question that we love to ask. Who would your dream match be against? Where would it be? And what would the stipulation? So three-parter. Can you answer it better than Bulk Nasty or Jimmy Vegas?
I've never gotten that question with three different answers. Okay, or three parts to it. All right, so does my opponent have to be dead or alive? Or...
Anybody. We can halt time, we can reverse time, we can do all of that. It's wrestling. Anything can happen, Katie. Come on.
Okay. So, if I could have any match, it would be against Lita at WrestleMania or some type of really big pay-per-view. And the stipulation would be it would be a ladder match. Wow.
I did not see a ladder match from you. I don't know why, but I did not see a ladder match. Actually, that was a real wow, by the way.
Well, you got to do something to get the fans to really like, what the hell? Katie Arquette versus Lita in a ladder match? Okay, I have to see it, and it's on WrestleMania. So it's very unexpected, but that's what I would want. I haven't been in many matches that have stipulations, but that doesn't mean I don't know how to do them. Right. So I'd like to be able to show what I can do in that area against one of my favorite of all time.
Now, you brought up WrestleMania, but come on, we need to know, like, I'm going to give you the answer that you're going to say, and I hate to say that. Do you want it at Madison Square Garden? Do you want it at Court Time Sports? Do you want it, like, where's the arena? Where are you going to get the house?
Well, I would love it to be at Court Time Sports Center, but I would hope that more people would be there that could fill the room. So I guess I would have to say Madison Square Garden. It's in New York. It's one of the most well-known venues, and it can fill the entire place. So.
All right. July 11th. It's this coming Saturday, guys. IWC Back in Business. Before I let Katie go, Katie, what are you going to tell the fans? Because we're going in, bad wording, but we're kind of going in blindfolded. What's going to happen as the COVID steps up? And we've been pumping, follow the guidelines, but still have fun. This is our 3 hours to get the hell away from COVID, kind of. What do you want to tell the fans to get them, even it's a bummer because it's a half a house, more or less, but how are you going to get them pumped up? What else do you want to tell them about July 11th? Do you have anything cool coming out that we don't know about merch-wise?
No, I just have the new shirt that I have that Jack Pollock designed for me. It's on Pro Wrestling Tees, along with 3 other pretty amazing shirt designs. So go check that out. But what I really want to say to the fans is, come if you want to come. If you don't feel like it's a safe environment, don't. You can go online and watch it through the network. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to be able to step away from all the craziness happening in the world right now and just put all your focus on something you love and you enjoy. Because on July 11th, it's going to be a night to remember because we are back in business.
I love the tagline that Plumber changed it to Back in Business. I really do. It's fitting. Do you have anything else scheduled from on? Are you going to be in Cleveland with Dombrowski? Are you going to be bouncing up anyplace else? Anything scheduled?
Unfortunately, no. Right now, my schedule is all for IWC, not knowing the different state-to-state guidelines and all the craziness with that. My goal is just to stick with home for now, and hopefully more can evolve later on in the next few months. So, but you can find me on social media, follow all my stuff on Facebook at just my fan page, Katie Arquette. You can find me on Instagram, the Katie Arquette, and on Twitter, the KT Arquette, because Twitter doesn't like 3 extra letters in my username. So, but go follow, like, retweet, share.
And finally, by the way, you took that real well and ran with it, because that was the next thing I was going to have you do anyway. I don't believe I'm saving this for last, but nonetheless, it's a question that's got to be asked. How's Uncle David doing?
He's doing great. He's, himself, kooky as ever, but definitely fun and loving. He's making his, taking it each day one step at a time, and hopefully he can continue filming his upcoming movie, but everything's post-prod right now. But he's doing great.
Good. That's good to know. When you see him, make sure you tell him we said hi. He's a Can Crusher alum too, by the way. He really is.
I will. I'll tell him to give you a shout-out.
Nice. All right, Katie, I'm going to let you run, go do whatever, cuddle with your dog, because at least give him a hug from me for real. And we will see you on July 11th.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me.
As I said, you knew this was pre-recorded. So I now want to make an announcement that I have a 7-day streak on Timehop. Right after we recorded this, I downloaded Timehop, and I have a 7-day streak. I'm 2 years, 11 months, and 23 days behind Katie, unless something happens that her phone breaks and she can't check it. Maybe that's what I can do. Steal her phone. That would destroy her. That really would. I've also seen the lyrics pop up on mine. I don't know if it was Jason Aldean. It might have been some Korn. It might have been some anger issues, or I don't know what. A lot of them are getting deleted. I do like the delete thing on Timehop. We're not getting paid by Timehop, but just want to let you know my wife and son also got Timehop now as well. So Katie, thanks for that, as we are sharing that throughout the family now. IWC Back in Business this Saturday. You'll see Katie Arquette teaming up with Queen Aminata, taking on the IWC Women's Champion Ray Lynn and the IWC graduate, Shae, along with a ton of great matches. Guys, if you can't be there, IWCWrestling.com. Sign up for it so you can go back and watch everything. It's $9.99 a month. Or if you just want to watch that one pay-per-view, that one event, I believe it's $14.99. Don't hold me on that. If you don't do $9.99 a month, you're a peasant. You really are. Just do $9.99 a month so you can watch wrestling all the time. IWC puts out great events all the time. There's some other things on there as well. You'll hear we talked about Wardlow. You'll get to see Wardlow as well. But this isn't about IWC. Plumber. No, it's not happening. Kane. Katie Arquette's favorite wrestler is Kane. That's unbelievable. I understand the Lita thing. That's perfect. The ladder match really stumped the hell out of me. But what a great interview. Man, I had fun. I was educated about Timehop, and that's not what this whole interview is about, but that just sticks to my mind over and over, that there was something out there that social media is me. I'm the nerd. I'm the mark of this whole Can Crusher thing, and I didn't know it. Thanks, Katie. Thanks a lot. Guys, we had fun. We always do on these spotlights. We love bringing them to you, getting a little behind the scenes of the wrestler, and then talk wrestling as well. If you want to send us an email, go ahead. It's cancrusher69@gmail.com. You can follow all our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. They're easy. It's at cancrusher69. You'll find us anywhere. And we have a website. It's attached to all the social medias as well. You'll be able to go back and listen to all our podcasts. A ton of IWC alum, a ton of OEW alum, some legends. It's fun. We love doing these spotlights. It is definitely my favorite part. Like the weekly shows with the English Professor and the Guru, but man, sitting down talking wrestling with the likes of Katie Arquette, and Calvin was on the show, and we had Super Hentai and Jimmy Vegas, and the list can go on. that's fine. If you want to hear us talk to somebody, send a list our way so we can contact them. Or if you're a wrestler listening to this, send an email over saying, hey, jackass, why haven't I been on the show? We'll talk to you. We really will. We talk to everybody. There's my Mickey Mouse voice again. Guys, have a great week, and IWC Wrestling back in business this Saturday. IWCWrestling.com. Just remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Bring happy birthday Lendl signs to the event.